Hey there guys, Travis here, and today I'm back with another tier ranking video. About a year ago I did two really long videos. One was about tier ranking every single zombies map, and the other one was about every single Pokemon game, and I found them really fun. So I thought it'd be fun to sit down and do another one. This time I'm doing every single starter Pokemon final form. So when I say that, basically, I'm only taking into the consideration the final evolved form. So for example, if I move Torterra, I'm not talking about Turtwig or Grottle, or if a Pokemon has a potential Mega Evolution or something like that, I'm not taking that into consideration. It's just the final evolution of the Pokemon. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm going to start off with a really big one, really aggressive one. We're going to put Infernape straight in S tier. Infernape, in my opinion, is by far the best firefighting type. This is a Pokemon I feel like I don't need to justify too much. Alright, anyone who's watched the Sinnoh anime with Ash, undoubtedly loves Infernape. I definitely did when I was a kid, watching Infernape in the final battle against Paul in the Sinnoh League was incredible. Also, during my Diamond and Pearl and Platinum playthroughs, I always chose Chimchar, and Infernape has been a Pokemon that I love. He's an incredibly good attacker, right? He's got high speed. He's got higher speed than Blaziken, and then he can either be attack or special attack. Can be physical or split. Gets access to coverage moves like Thunder Punch, Earthquake, Grass Knot. But he's overall a really strong Pokemon. And I love his design. Like, his design's incredible. Like, the flame coming out of the back of his head, the monkey. Like, he's a really good Pokemon overall. So, yeah, he's S tier for me. Now we're going to do another really big, aggressive one. However, this one's the exact opposite. We're going to put our first E tier Pokemon, and that's going to be Emboar. Emboar is just not... I don't know how to describe it. I don't like his design at all. The only part of his design I even vaguely like is the fire that goes around his neck. I will say his shiny is banger. He's got a banger shiny. But other than that, he's really not cool. He's just a way less cool version of Blaziken and Infernape. Yes, he's a lot slower. Like, he's kind of meant to be like this bulky kind of Pokemon. He's just... I can't really get past it. It's purely a design. Purely a design. I just don't vibe with it. It's an ugly Pokemon. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's an ugly Pokemon. I'm just really not a fan of Emboar. So he's going to be an E tier for me. I can't really justify it further than that. If you like Emboar, sorry. I just think the man's ugly. That's about it. Now, we're going to go for another one. This time we're going to do Swampert. I think I'll move it away from the firefighting types. Swampert is going to go ahead and be in an A tier category. Swampert's a Pokemon that is only recently I've started to really like. He's always been historically one of those Pokemon that I've just kind of thought was average. Like, meh, wasn't a crazy fan of him. But I don't know when, probably about a year or two ago, I started just randomly really liking Swampert. Water Ground is a really fun type to play with. Like, it's really strong, like being able to sit there and use Waterfall and then Earthquake, and then if you have coverage moves, you can do stuff like Ice Punch and Stone Edge. Just in general, it's a really fun type. Also, you're only weak to one type. Yes, Grass is that type, but Grass is also not the best attacking stat. I do want to make sure this list isn't too much just about like competitive Pokemon. That's really not what this is about. It's just personal tastes. He's got a really cool design as well. He's like kind of sleek, but also like a little bit bigger. Like he does have, from memory, I think he's a pretty decent HP stat. Nothing incredible, but it's pretty decent. And design kind of reflects that. Like he's not as slim as someone like Infernape or Cinderace or Inteleon, but he's also not as big as someone like Blastoise or Venusaur. It's a really weird niche that I feel like another Pokemon that really kind of fits those are like Typhlosion, Feraligatr, but even more so. Anyway, Swampert's just a really fun Pokemon. He's well designed, well balanced overall. He's just, everything about Swampert is good. I can't really think of any negative drawbacks. The only reason he's on S tier is he's not banger. Like, he's good. He's good in every single category. He's great in every single category. Good in every category, great in every category, but he's not really banger in any of them, apart from type. That's about it. Alright, and next up, we're going to do a grass type this time, and this is going to be Serperior. I'm not actually too sure where I want to put Serperior, so Serperior might move later on. It is either going to be B or C tier, so Serperior might move. We'll see. It would be for now. Serperior, spoiler alert, is kind of the only Unova starter that I like its fully evolved stage form of. I'm not a massive fan of the starters overall in Unova, and the only one I actually would say, like, yeah, I like this Pokemon is Serperior. Sleek design, very sleek design. Actually, cool design. Grass starters normally don't have the most banger designs. They're not quite as flashy as water or especially fire. But I feel like Serperior really breaks that mold. Him and Sceptile really break that mold. Yeah, I can't really elaborate past this. He's just, I don't mind him. He's kind of cool, but he's also not extreme. I really can't elaborate past that. So I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to take my word. Like, my opinion. He's gonna be B tier. Now, next up, we're going to go for another Pokemon in the E tier, and this is going to be Inteleon. Now, I'll be honest, I've never used Inteleon. I've actually never battled with Inteleon once. I have him in Pokemon Shield because I wanted to get the Shiny Charm. So, actually, that's a lie. I have used him in battle before. I do have him, but not like seriously. Not outside of just level grinding. Honestly, I don't even remember using him, so he could have just been sitting in the back of my party with XP all on. Part of the reason I don't like him, he's just too human looking. I'm not really a fan of human looking Pokemon. I never really have been. The most human looking I kind of like is, I think, Marchamp's an okay looking Pokemon. He's pretty cool. And then Infernape, but Infernape's more monkey than human. Inteleon, it's just, I don't like the hand on the hip. I don't like Pokemon looking human. It kind of skitzes me out. It's kind of like, man, what do you? I don't like it. I've never been a fan of it, and for that reason alone, he's an E tier. I just saw his design, it was immediately like, what the fuck? That is not something I'm grooving with. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do our first Johto starter, and that's gonna be Typhlosion. Typhlosion's an A tier Pokemon. Typhlosion, for me, is really cool. He's got a good design. I will say I kind of prefer Cyndaquil and Quilava. I prefer the designs of those Pokemon, but Typhlosion's still cool, right? Gen 2, he gets access to Thunder Punch, which is a special move in those games. Gen 2 Typhlosion, I would definitely say, is a lot more fun to use than Gen 4 Heart Gold, purely because you get access to special Thunder Punch, which is really strong against, Lance, and, you can sit there and use it against Blastoise for red, all that type of shit. He's got a sleek design. He's got the exact same stats as Charizard, which means he's a good Pokemon. Charizard's got good stats. So does Incineroar. 100 base speed, 108 if I'm remembering correctly. Special attack. Incineroar's another one of those Pokemon where it's kind of hard to describe him. Like, you look at him, he's not exactly the most. He hasn't exactly got the most design features to him, right? He's kind of like, even in this piece I got right here, 99% of him is just like this pale yellow color. He just kind of looks a little bit awkward standing up. I'll say that as well. I kind of like that they're bipedal, Quilava and Cyndaquil. Typhlosion just randomly standing up looks kind of weird. And also, there's a lot of goofy Typhlosion. Like, you look at images. Like, you look at those old, like, 2000 anime episodes from, like, I think it was, like, the Gold or Ethan anime. They did, like, an anime special. There's some goofy Typhlosion pictures there. And especially when he has, like, his not fire on. Like, when his fire is off, he just looks goofy as hell. So I'll put him in A because I still really like using him, but his design could use some work. Alright, next up is a Pokemon that I actually really used to like, that I'm now not really that fond of, and I can't decide if I want to put him in C tier or D tier, and that's going to be Samurott. Samurott was a Pokemon that I really liked using as a kid. When I played through the Unova games, and I was still at the age where I would only ever use my starter Pokemon, Samurott was the Pokemon that I used. I loved Oshawott, I loved Duat, I loved Samurott. He was the first ever time... Actually, no, not my first ever time choosing a water Pokemon, that's a lie. But it is true, up until then I normally preferred fire types, except for one exception. I really liked Samurott. I really liked his design. Razor Shell, him pulling the sword out was really, really cool. Surfing Waterfall. I remember going through one game and just spamming surf and everything. I really, really liked Samurott. But I've kind of reached the point now that I'm an adult. He just kind of looks a little bit weird. I don't quite know how to describe it. Actually, now that I'm looking at him, I'm actually liking him more. And I'm going to replay Black and White soon, and choose Samurott. So maybe he'll go higher or lower on my list. But for a long time, I was like, man, Duat and Oshawott look like really cool Pokemon. And then he drastically changes into Samurott, and he's on all fours, and he's got to like do this weird thing where he can't use his shell anymore because he can't stand on hind legs to use like his sword, or he kind of can, but he can only do it for a little bit of time before it's really weird. He looks like a Pokemon where if he tried to use a Razor Shell with the sword arms that he's got, like the swords that are in his arms, he'd just fall over backwards and land on his back, and that's kind of weird. I will say I will put him in C tier, but there's potential this is going to change either upper, probably it'll change lower, but there's also the chance in the when I eventually replay the Unova games, it'll go higher. Now we're going to bring it back to a Holland Pokemon, and this is going to be another S tier Pokemon, and this is going to be Sceptile. I love Sceptile. For a long time, I loved Grovyle over Sceptile. I remember one of the only Pokemon DVD sets that I owned from a kid was the Holland League. I had the Orange Island arc, and I had the box set of the Holland League, all of Ash's battles, so that was really cool. I always remember Ash versus, I'm blanking on her name, she's the blue head chick, I'll put a picture up on her screen, and she's a Walrein, and Grovyle is fighting a Walrein, and Grovyle tricks him into using Ice Beam to make the water field all ice, and then Grovyle comes up and decks the motherfucker. I should probably stop swearing, we got this video demonetized, but I don't earn any revenue anyway, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, Sceptile's a Pokemon I've always loved, right? And then you see him in the Sinnoh League. I kind of already mentioned the Sinnoh League with Infernape. I'm a big fan of the Sinnoh League. Dude, Sceptile goes hard in the Sinnoh League. That Darkrai victory was legendary, bro. 10-year-old me watching that shit was losing his mind, man. He was a happy man watching that. Also, whenever I choose Emerald, I always pick Sceptile. I recently played through Emerald. I think last year I played through it, and I played Sceptile on an emulator, and I really loved it. It was a lot of fun. So Sceptile's definitely going an S tier for me. You know, he's one of those weird Pokemons where, because he's grass, he's an offensive Pokemon, but grass isn't a great offensive typing. So he's not great. And then even when they did give him a Mega Evolution, which I'm not counting in this ranking, he kind of he loses his weakness to fire, but then he gets 4 times weakness to ice, a weakness to dragon, weakness to fairy. Yes, he gets lightning rod, but it's weird. And then, you know, he's got higher special attacks, but apart from stuff like he's got Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, Focus Blast, and I don't know if there's a 4th special move he has, and he can bear it to his attack, which he can use Earthquake, Rock Slide, X-Scissors, Leaf Blade, Thunder Punch, Dragon Claw. Like, there's a lot. Focus Punch, maybe. There's a lot more variety in his offensive stats, but his special attacks really high. He's really kind of weird. I will also just mention, in case I forgot to mention this at the start, whichever Pokemon is closer to the left is in the lead. So Infernape is beating out Sceptile. So and Swampert beating out Thingo, and this Pokemon is better than this Pokemon. So yeah, that just to let you guys know. All right, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do another Pokemon that I'm not a massive fan of, and that's Gen 7 Primarina, and that's going in the D tier. I don't necessarily have anything against Primarina. I'm just not a massive fan of its design. I don't think it's a bad Pokemon. I think Water Fairy is a really cool idea. I'm sure if I was ever to actually use the thing, I'd probably have fun, because I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever used Primarina, and that's not an exaggeration. I literally don't think I've ever used Primarina in my life, so maybe I'm judging it too harshly, but just looking at its design, it just doesn't cry out to me. To me, it just doesn't look cool, and it's just a weird kind of dolphin thing. I feel bad for saying weird, but it's a Pokemon, it can't hear me. Yeah, so Primarina is going D. I can't really go any further past that. I think it's pretty decent and competitive. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm actually remembering watching YouTube videos of people using it. I think it can use Hyper Voice or some sort of fairy type move that hits both opponents. Regardless, yeah, it's going to go in D tier. Circling back to Gen 4, we're going to put another Gen 4 starter in, and this was another one that Ash owned, and this is Torterra. Now, I really like Torterra in the anime, and also I really liked it in the games. Grass Ground is a cool typing. Torterra is fun to use, right? You play through Sinnoh, you evolve him, I believe, at level 30. Yeah, level 30, he evolves into Torterra. You get Earthquake straight away, like 100 base power, stab type move. That early in the game is very strong. You can get Crunch, you can get Wood Hammer, you can get Leaf Storm. Torterra is a fun Pokemon to use. Yes, it has the 4 times weakness to Ice, but Pokemon can be enjoyed very casually. Just because a Pokemon isn't good in competitive, in fact, Torterra is very bad in competitive, doesn't mean it's not fun. And I always really liked Ash's Torterra in the anime as well. Ash's Torterra using Leaf Storm, I always thought was really cool as a kid. I love that. Yes, it lost a lot of battles, but that's kind of the writers writing it to lose battles, I want to tell you. His battle against Bertha's Hippowdon in the anime was really cool as well. I'm going to put Torterra in A tier. I'm not entirely sure if I want it for Typhlosion. I think for now I'm going to put it after Typhlosion, but potentially that's bias from Quilava and Cinderace. So Torterra might move in front of Typhlosion, but for now it's sitting in A tier. Alright, while we're here, I've just noticed we haven't done a single Kalos Pokemon. So we're going to start with Kalos Pokemon. And we're going to do Chesnaught. Chesnaught was actually my starter for X. When I first played X, I didn't look at... I would have been 11, I think. Yeah, I would have been 11. I didn't look at the Final Evolution starter Pokemon. I also didn't look at which version of the game I was... Like, which... Actually, no, I won't get to that story. No, basically, I bought X... I think I liked Xerneas. I don't remember why I bought X. But I bought X. And Chesnaught, I liked Chespin because it reminded me of Oshawott. And at the time, I still really loved Oshawott and Samurott. So it's like, oh my god, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to pick Chespin. And then welcome to Chesnaught. And it was okay, right? I didn't mind it. It kind of ended up getting replaced by the Kanto starter that I picked in that game, if I'm completely honest, because at the point I loved Kanto, and at the point in my life, I had never ever been able to play a Kanto game because I just didn't have a Game Boy. I was too young to know what emulators were. I really enjoyed that game for that reason. So yeah, actually from memory, I'm pretty sure the only Kalos Pokemon I used in my team the entire time was Chesnaught and sometimes Xerneas. I will say Chesnaught's going to go in front of Primarina. And this is another reason why I put Samurott higher, actually. I think Samurott's going to stay in C tier, because I like Samurott more than Chesnaught. Chesnaught's kind of got a weird design. I like the idea behind it in theory. Something like Spiky Shield's a really cool idea. Grass Fighting is unique. It's not necessarily that I dislike the Pokemon, it's just the design looks a little bit weird. I think maybe if its face was different, I'd like it more. Like, I don't really mind the whole shell aspect. The big arms don't bother me. Maybe it's its face. I don't know. I can't really picture its face at the moment. And this icon's too small to see. But yeah, Chesnaught's going to go in D tier. Speaking of Kanto, though, that's the only other game where we haven't placed a Pokemon yet. So we're going to go ahead, and I think we're going to do Blastoise first. Now, Blastoise is a tricky Pokemon for me, because I actually like Squirtle way more than Blastoise. I like Blastoise, but if I was to make like a tier list of the first stage starters, Squirtle is going in S tier. Squirtle could honestly potentially win the whole thing. There's one other Pokemon that I could think could maybe beat Squirtle for that tier, and we haven't placed him yet either. But Blastoise I like as well. I don't like Blastoise as much because it's kind of... I like Squirtle because it's cute, and Blastoise isn't that. Blastoise is cool though. He's got the cannons on his back. Those cannons are really cool. Seeing them in the anime is always so much fun as a kid watching in the anime, seeing Blastoise shoot out of his big, massive cannons. That's just cool. You know, oh, bro, combining Pokemon with a gun. Let's go. You know, that's type of shit that 8-year-old, 9-year-old me thinks of that when I watch Blastoise. Blue, Gary always have Blastoise. Blastoise is just an overall very fun Pokemon. It's fun to play through the game with, Ice Beam, Surf, Hydro Pump. It gets Bite. I don't think it gets Crunch unless you teach it to it. Like through some sort of... I don't think it levels it up and it crunches in a TM in the older games. Anyway, Blastoise is really fun. I am going to put Blastoise in high A tier, but I don't know if it's in front of Swampert yet. Actually, I'm thinking about it. It is in front of Swampert. I really like Blastoise. Blastoise is in front of Swampert, so yes. Blastoise is going A tier. Okay, I think it's time we should do another Alola Pokemon. And for this, we're doing Decidueye. I almost forgot his name. Grass Ghost is a really cool typing. Grass Ghost is cool. And I know a lot of people love Decidueye. I know for a lot of people, Decidueye is sitting there in the top in the S tier. Decidueye is okay. Its design, it's kind of cool. It's like a Robin Hood, like Archer. That's cool, but it's not insane to me. It's going to go in B tier. I'm actually not too sure if I want to put it in front or after Serperior. I will say I've never used it in battle either. I didn't play a whole lot of Gen 7, so I don't know how much the ghost typing I'd love. For now, I think it's just going to go low B tier or maybe mid B tier. I don't know if anything else is going B tier. But Decidueye is going to sit here for now, so I'm sorry, Decidueye lovers. Yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and do another Gen 8 Pokemon. This is going to be Cinderace. Cinderace was a Pokemon I didn't think I was going to like. I looked at Cinderace, and I was like, he's human. He's a football player standing on two legs. His fucking signature move is he kicks a football. I didn't like that. I will say, after playing through the game with him, he actually grew on me a lot. And I'm sure that would happen if I would have, say I really dislike Primarina. I'm sure if I picked Primarina, I really liked Primarina. This was the Gen 8 Pokemon of my choice, and he really grew on me. My main complaint is he doesn't have a lot of coverage in his main set of moves. I think, from his level up set. I think my Cinderace in game at the moment has literally still got Power Ball, Double Edge, Double Kick, and then maybe another Fire type move. I don't know. He does not learn a lot of coverage. Regardless, it was really fun. Power Ball is a really cool animation. I grew up watching football as a kid because my dad's a big fan of it. So Power Ball for me was just really fun. I think it's 120 base power, 85 accuracy, which is actually really cool. That's normally you don't see that. Normally in Flare Blitz, Flamethrower, you don't really get that many moves that are individual to the Pokemon, and when they are, something like Darkest Lyatar from I don't know how to say it, from Incineroar, it's like 100 accuracy, 80 base power move. It's nothing crazy, but this Pokemon's risky, and I'm actually going to put him at the top of B tier. I really didn't think he'd go this high, but he's actually going to go top of B tier. Actually, do I want to put Serperior in front of him? Oh wow, I actually don't know. That's really tricky. I think I'm going to put him in front of Serperior. I think I'm a little bit biased towards Serperior at the moment because I'm planning on replaying Unova, and a part of me really wants to use Serperior. So I think my brain's just sitting there huffing the Unova juices a little bit. Juices, I don't know what I'm saying. So yeah, I think I'm going to put Cinderace in front. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do another Gen 7 Pokemon. And this is going to be Incineroar. I don't like Incineroar. I really liked Litten. I really liked Torterra. And then they had to go and make the MF stand on 2 legs. That's a bit of a no-no. As I said with the other guys, I really do not like Pokemon that stand up. Also, I hate him in competitive. He is so broken in competitive. Intimidate. A Fake Out. He has access to Fake Out. He's access to Snarl, which hits both Pokemon laws, both special attack. You can use I'm blanking on the move, but there's a move that it'll lower both attack, and so you can send it. It lowers both attack and special attack, but forces Incineroar to switch out. So you can turn 1, send Incineroar in, immediately get off an Intimidate on both Pokemon, either Fake Out or immediately use the switch out move, Parting Shot. That's what it's called. Get another attack drop plus a special attack drop on a single Pokemon, switch him out, send in a new Pokemon, at the start of the next turn, switch him back in. Now looking at a Pokemon that potentially has lowered 3 times attack. I really dislike Incineroar. He's also bulky. He's a bulky Pokemon. If you give him max HP, some special defense investment, he's not leaving the field. He's going to be sitting there spreading Intimidate and lowering attack and special attack and spreading Fake Outs a lot. He's really annoying. I think I'll put him... Actually, well, I really liked it. The only reason I like Incineroar is because I look at him and go, oh, yo, I love Litten and Torterra. I hate Incineroar. He's going bottom of E tier. Emboar's beating him. I don't like Incineroar. Not a fan. Sorry, bro. Alright, next up. It's been a while since we've done an S tier Pokemon. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick Feraligatr. Now, I'm actually really iffy where I want to put Feraligatr, but I have to be honest, I'm going to put Feraligatr right here. Feraligatr was my first ever starter. My first ever starter back in 2010 was Totodile on Pokemon Heart Gold. I really like Feraligatr. To this day, he's still one of my favorite Pokemons. I actually really recently started replaying Heart Gold. I started to replay Heart Gold throughout the start of the year, and I've been 100%ing it. I caught a shiny, my favorite Pokemon, which I got a shiny version of. I'm currently hunting Ho-Oh shiny. I've been doing stuff the Battle Tower. I've been EV training Pokemon, trying to make sure I get good natures on them. I love Feraligatr. Crunch, Waterfall, Ice Fang, Surf is what I have. You can just change it out for Superpower. You can give it Earthquake if you want to, I'm pretty sure. Dragon Claw. Feraligatr is really fun. It even gets access to Dragon Dance, actually. I'm not sure if it gets that in Gen 4, though. Feraligatr is a Pokemon. This is a very, very personal Pokemon for me. I like its design a lot. I will say I don't like its design quite as much as Sceptile or Infernape, but I like its design a lot. And I think a lot of this just does come down to the fact that it was my first ever Pokemon. I have a lot of sentimental attached to this Pokemon. I just look at it and I go, holy shit, I'm a kid again. I'm sitting in 3rd grade. I brought my DS to school, and I'm rebattling the Elite Four with like level 94 Feraligatr, because this was the first ever Pokemon I got to level 100. I still have that Feraligatr to this day. It's now on Pokemon Platinum, level 100, first ever level 100 Pokemon. I love Feraligatr. It's going S tier. We're going to come back and we're going to do a Gen 3 Pokemon, because we've not done a Gen 3 Pokemon in ages. And this is going to be Blaziken. Blaziken is a Pokemon where I look at him and I just go, oh, he's just kind of less cool Infernape. Higher, I think, attack and special attack, but way lower speed. Yes, he does get speed boost, which, you know, if you turn 1, have Focus Sash, you can quite literally protect turn 1, get a speed boost. Swords Dance, get +2 speed, and get a guaranteed second speed boost and live, unless you get double hit into, with Focus Sash. And then, you know, you have 2 times speed, Swords double attack, Swords Dance. You know, Blaziken can be a very strong Pokemon. But design-wise and playing the game-wise, I prefer both Swampert and Sceptile, and he's just a less cool Sceptile. And for that, Infernape. And for that reason, I'm going to put him at the top of A tier. I still like him, but he's just not quite special enough to me. He doesn't feel unique enough. I will say, I'm only just noticing this now, he's actually another Pokemon stands on 2 legs, but Blaziken doesn't look like a human. He doesn't look like a human the same way I'd say Incineroar does. Maybe it's just because I'm more used to seeing him as a kid. But yeah, I like Blaziken, but he's nothing insane for me, so he's going to go into B tier. The next Pokemon we're going to do is Delphox. Delphox is not a Pokemon where it just comes down to the design for me, right? I'm not really a fan of Pokemon, like I said, that stand on 2 legs. You know, bipedal Pokemon, I'm not a fan of. I've said that previously in the video. The hair in the ears also looks really, really weird. That just looks weird to me. I don't know why they put hair in the Pokemon's ears. You know, I know what they were going for. They wanted to have the Mage, the Rogue, the Knight for Kalos, but Delphox design for me just didn't hit. I can't really elaborate past that. You know, any Delphox lovers out there, I'm sorry. I'm just personally not a big fan of the Pokemon. It's just going to go sit in E tier for me. Alright, now we're going to end off Gen 8 with a Rillaboom. Rillaboom, for me, is an okay Pokemon. Honestly, when I went into Gen 8, it was probably my favourite starter of the bunch in terms of Final Evolution, but I wasn't that much of a fan of Grookey. I didn't mind Grookey, but I think out of the 3, it may be my least favourite. Plus, Grass isn't my favourite type. Yes, Grass has actually done pretty well on this list. I'm actually noticing it. My favourite type, Fire. 3 of them are in E tier. That's actually surprising to me. I didn't think that would happen before I started this. And Grass actually doing better than I thought it would as well. But it's okay. I kind of like I like watching Leon use in the anime, the Gigantamax against Alan, even if that battle had, you know, I'm sad that Alan got rolled. It's a fun Pokemon. It's an okay Pokemon, but it's not something I'd ever want to pick, really. It's not, for me at least, it's not starter Pokemon material. It's a backup Pokemon in the 6th slot. It's not like your best bud throughout the adventures Pokemon for me. So it's going to go bottom of C tier. Next we're going to do the last Johto Pokemon. We're going to do Meganium. And Meganium is okay. I don't mind its design. I have nostalgia from when I was a kid. I remember my neighbor when I was a kid, he was the one who put me onto Heart Gold. He's like, you should buy Heart Gold as your first Pokemon game. He had Meganium as a starter Pokemon, and he loved it. And I actually have a memory of us sitting on the internet reading some blog post. I don't know what it was. I think we were Googling what the best Johto starter was because we were complaining. And it was like, oh yeah, Feraligatr, Typhlosion is good. Meganium sucks balls, lol. And he got so mad. He got so upset and so angry. I remember that. But it's kind of true. Look, I don't mind its design. I prefer Bayleaf and Chikorita's design. But it's not a bad design. It's okay. It's kind of the fact that it's just really bad in its own region. A guy named The Smith Plays, I think his Pokemon channel is Smith Plays Pokemon. He did a video recently talking about, I don't remember exactly what it was. I think is Chikorita better than Bulbasaur? Basically, he sits down and he talks about like how Chikorita does in all the other games, and it's solid. Meganium's a solid Pokemon in every other game for the most part, except for Johto, which kind of sucks because obviously that's its reason. What moves does it get besides Grass? I think it gets maybe Body Slam. Yeah, it gets Body Slam, Petal Dance. Okay, then you're dealing with what from natural level up, Reflect, Poison Powder. It's just not a great Pokemon. So it's actually going to go top of D tier for me. Alright, I think we should get rid of the other last Grass type Pokemon. Actually, no, we're going to do another Water type first. We're going to do Greninja. I like Greninja. It's cool. I definitely think if I would have seen the final evolutions of all the Pokemon in Kalos region, I definitely would have picked Greninja. I definitely would have picked Froakie. But it's not my favorite. I think a part of the reason is I didn't watch the Kalos anime. I have rewatched the battles on YouTube in like 3-minute clips, which is kind of scuffed, of his battle with Ash Greninja. And Ash Greninja does look really cool, but we're also not talking about Ash Greninja. We're talking about regular Greninja. And regular Greninja is still a really cool Pokemon. You have Protean as its hidden ability. It's really strong. It was actually banned to Ubers for a while. I don't know if you guys know this. During Gen 6, it wasn't Ubers for a while. It's a fun Pokemon. but it doesn't quite have the nostalgia for me. It's kind of too cool. It's kind of a Pokemon that's like a little bit too cool, like it's trying too hard. I don't know how to describe it. Fuck, that makes me sound like such a hipster, and I really hate it because I'm not a fan of people that are like, bro, I don't like this thing because too many other people like it. It's overrated. Like, man, like, shut up. Like, if people like things, there's generally a reason for it. What I will say, though, is I think I'll put it... It's going in A tier. I think I'll put it in front of Greninja, in front of Torterra. It's not going to go in front of Typhlosion, though. Greninja can sit there. That's probably one of the lowest rankings for Greninja you might see on the internet, because a lot of people love that Pokemon. Alright, and then there were 3. Grass, Fire, and Water. We're going to go ahead and do the next Grass-type Pokemon, Venusaur, and this is actually going to go into A tier. Now, I will say I love Bulbasaur and Ivysaur more than Venusaur. Venusaur, man's kind of pudgy. He looks like he's not doing too well. He looks like if he was to go to the Pokemon Center to get a health checkup, you know, they'll be billing the trainer an expensive amount of money. You know, like, he does not look like a healthy boy. And for that reason, you know, it kind of takes away the design for me a little bit. Grass Poison's a really fun typing. I'm a fan of that. You know, you can get Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain just from regular level up. I think it gets Double Edge as well. You can teach it Earthquake with a TM. You can teach it lots of stuff. I really like it to use in battle as well. Chlorophyll with Sun is really fun. You can sit there and you can either use you can Gigantamax it, and you can do all the Gigantamax stuff. You know, the not Frenzy Plant, but the Gmax grass type move I'm forgetting the name of that does damage over time as well. Gmax Ooze to raise your special attack and just have, you know, really fast Gigantamax Pokemon. Or you can just have it regular and use Earth Power, Weather Ball to make Weather Ball a fire type move, or Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain. Or you can do what I do and I can use Sleep Tactics, Wide Lens Sleep Tactics. Use it a bit more of a support Pokemon. Let's say I have my Groudon on the field next to the Venusaur. And, okay, I have a Water type in the enemy team. Or maybe not a Water type, but something that's gonna... maybe another Grass. No, not Grass either. Okay. Something that threatens Groudon. We'll put it that way. Or whatever the other Pokemon I was on my team. And I can sit there and I can Sleep Powder it, especially against Kyogre. I find a lot of the time I'll use Sleep Powder against Kyogre instead of actually damaging it. Especially if I have the Sun up. Which actually probably isn't the best decision now that I'm thinking about it. But regardless. I like Venusaur a lot. I think I'm going to put him right here. I would put Bulbasaur and Ivysaur higher if I could. But Venusaur's not that. I can't put Venusaur over Typhlosion. Venusaur is going to sit right here in A. And now we're going to do the last water Pokemon, Empoleon. Water Steel. Water Steel is a really cool typing. I think the Gen 4 Pokemon in general, the starters are great. The starter line for Gen 4 Pokemon are great. I will say, Empoleon's probably my least favorite of the bunch. I do remember watching it in the anime. I remember Barry had one, and Barry having one was really, really cool. I remember he used Hydro Cannon a lot, Drill Peck. Empoleon is a cool Pokemon. I remember seeing it in Rise of Darkrai as well. Rise of Darkrai is my favorite ever Pokemon movie. I remember watching it when I was a kid, and I absolutely loved it. So we're going to go ahead, and we're going to put Empoleon top of B tier. Not quite A tier, but I do really like Empoleon. Empoleon is a really cool Pokemon. I just realized we had three water types in a row here. It's funny. Yeah, Empoleon's a really cool Pokemon. I'm not going to go too much far into that, but yeah. Now, we have one last Pokemon left, Charizard. A lot of people hate Charizard nowadays. There's a lot of people on Twitter disliking Charizard because Game Freak has recognized that he's a popular Pokemon the same way Pikachu is. And look, if you pay attention to this video, I've almost let it slip a few times. I was trying to keep it a surprise. Charizard's my favorite Pokemon. Charizard is going straight top of S tier. Charizard is my favorite Pokemon. When I talked about Feraligatr, I mentioned having my Heart Gold replay. I have Shiny Hunted a starter. That starter was Shiny Charizard. I actually found a Shiny Charizard way under odds. I got Shiny Charmander with, I think it was 1,851. I don't remember the exact number. I'll put the number on screen. So way under odds. And it had a modest nature. 1 in 26 chance of getting the right nature. I got modest nature, perfect nature. That thing knows, currently knows Flamethrower, Air Slash, Heat Wave, and Focus Blast, but I might add Solar Beam, I might not. I might see what hidden power I can get. Actually, I don't know what hidden power I can get. I love Charizard. Gigantamax and Mega Evolutions are so much fun. I won't talk about them, but I love using the Sun team with Groudon, like I mentioned, and Gigantamax Charizard in the Sun, or even just Heat Wave. Mega Charizard Y as well, sending that thing out in Gen 6 or Gen 7 and just Mega Evolve, Heat Wave, first turn, Heat Wave in the Sun with I think 150 special attack Mega Charizard Y does a lot. A lot of Pokemon are getting one hit KO'd from that. Mega Charizard X as well, even if its battle style isn't as fun to me, has a killer design, right? Red's one is great, but regardless, even without all that stuff, I still love Charizard. Ash's Charizard was a G, right? You see him, he doesn't listen to him at the start, but he's the awesome battle against Magmar, and he doesn't want to listen to Ash at all, this Charmeleon. Then he listens to him in the Orange Islands. He does really good against the Dragonite and Drake battle. He comes in and sweeps the hell out of Gary, taking out 3 Pokemon in the Silver Conference. He comes back to battle the Articuno for Ash. He comes back to help win against the Brandon, even if he was rolled by Dusclops. He comes back in Unova for a bit. I love Charizard. Charizard's been my favorite Pokemon ever since I was 11 years old. When I was really young, my favorite Pokemon was Pikachu for a while. I loved Ash's Pikachu. I really liked it. And when I hit 11, I don't know why, I was just kind of like, bro, Charizard's Dragon. That's cool as shit. And that has stayed with me ever since. He has got the best shiny in the game, in my opinion. I have 3 shiny Charizards. I have a shiny Charizard on Pokemon X that I got in 2019, one in Pokemon Shield that I believe I got in 2021, and then the one on Pokemon Heart Gold. I have hunted for 3 shiny Pokemon, all of them are Charizard. I'm a massive fan of Charizard. Some people are like, oh, bro, you're so basic. It's overrated. Be more interesting. Man, shut your goofy ass up. I can like whatever the fuck I want, and no one can change that. If something is popular, there is a reason for it. Hating something because it's popular is mega cringe. Anyway, this is my list. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it. I don't think I did anything too controversial. I feel like for the most part, this is actually a pretty standard list. Maybe there's some people that really like Inteleon. Maybe I put some Pokemon too high. Maybe people like hate Serperior. Maybe people really dislike Typhlosion. I don't really know. I think this is actually pretty, for the most part, a pretty good list. Pretty non-controversial list compared to my other two. My other two actually had some spicy. There's chance that if someone was watch that, they'd get pissed off at some of my rankings. Specifically where I put the Unova games. But I'll leave that. If you guys want to know where I put the Unova games, you can watch the other video. Regardless, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun for me to make. I've probably been sitting here for, I don't know exactly how long I've been sitting here for. Maybe an hour. I'll see how long this recording is at the end. Regardless, it was very, very fun. If you've liked this content, I have other videos up. I want to try to upload a little bit more consistently. Hopefully by the time this goes up, there'll be videos before it that are more consistent. Regardless, I really enjoyed this. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace.